You always hear people say the heart of America, right? The heart of America. The heart of America is your everyday average citizen who's not in an echo chamber, who lives paycheck to paycheck. That's your average American. I said yesterday one of the things that I had liked about Donald Trump, out of several, there's several things I've liked about him, but one of the things too that I liked about him is that he had a way of exposing people without saying a word, because he surrounded himself with people he wanted you to see that were not good people. There is so many politicians running right now that are looking for his endorsement. Like they're it's like everything rides on it almost in some cases. But they just like, I don't like that, because you're looking for man to decide you're worthy. If it's meant for you to be elected, then it shouldn't matter what anybody says. You'll be elected because God's approval is what matters. God's. The problem with politics is the sin of filth it is. I mean, because what happens is it becomes this echo chamber where they're all patting themselves on the back, even on social media. So we went from mainstream media and, Donald Trump making us aware of, what a joke that is. But it's now, the same thing is starting to happen now on your social media sites. They are echo chambers. So there's a lot of people that I follow that I like, but they do the same thing, the mainstream. They may be telling truths and all that, but they stick to their same echo chamber. Here's what I would like to see in a politician. One that actually doesn't fall into the trap of needing man to approve of them, not needing to be popular. I mean, I know you need popularity to win, but I think you also need God's help. And I think that's where more of the focus should be. But anyway, but I would like to see where a politician, they don't get so caught up in their little cocktail parties and echo chambers and flying to this group, because they're all the same group. They fly here, they fly there. They're all still in the same group. But actually, look at the American, everyday, average American who's not popular, who you probably deem is not as important to get back to an email about, or return a phone call. I mean, that would be a first, actually, truly. But they all do the same thing. So it's the same damn trap. And then I look at Jesus's life, and that's a reason he went to you. If you want to think of when Jesus was back with the disciples, but put it in modern day times. You know who Jesus would have went to? The everyday average American that lives paycheck to paycheck, that are heroes, that struggle, that try to do the right thing. That's who Jesus would go to. I mean, not that he wouldn't go to other, I'm just saying that it's this echo chamber that becomes the problem. I mean, these social media platforms, the media platforms, they always have to have an expert, somebody that's written a book, somebody that's an expert in their field that does something that nobody else does, or is an athlete or a star, and they prop them up. It's like, well, have you ever yet seen a social media either, that will prop just the everyday average American up? Do you know how many heroes there are out in the everyday middle America and all over that you never hear about? It might be nice to hear about those people, because most of us Americans, that's who we can relate to, because most of your politicians do have money, and they get vetted by man who decides if they're worthy. I mean, man does not decide other men's worth. And the men that are seeking to have man's approval are the ones, in my opinion, that will get lost. Because then it's become about a popularity contest for you. Donald Trump had one of the biggest platforms on Twitter, didn't he? Except he he used it for good. He used it for good in the sense of trying to make people see. But he didn't need anybody's approval. That's what I like about him. He didn't care if he had your approval. And because he didn't care about somebody else approving of him, that's the reason he became popular. It's the very reason he did. So all these people, like, groveling, and not groveling, but, waiting for that, endorsement from him or, approval. It's like, if it's God's will for you to be elected, then you will be. But maybe you should put your focus back on the everyday Americans. Because look at what they're focusing on too. This is the other thing I don't like: the priorities. What are the up and coming politicians? What is their priority right now? We have people in office that are committing child abuse, putting masks on children, or mandating masks on children. It's child abuse. It is. It causes development problems along with psychological that are probably going to be, God knows how long lasting. I don't even want to go there. I'll start crying because it's so wrong. But that's where the priority should be. What are the politicians that are up and coming doing? They're all patting each other on the back. I mean, they're patting themselves on the back with whoever the news media or social platform is interviewing them, saying, "Oh, you're so great. Oh, you're so great." It's like this is why the average Americans just get freaking fed up with the bullshit, because it's the same thing. You're all patting each other on the back, and all the while there's these everyday Americans that are scared, they're worried, they live paycheck to paycheck. Some are quitting their job because of they're standing up for their morals. And in my heart, I believe that's who Jesus would go to, is those people that man who's popular ignores. All the up and coming politicians should maybe really take a true lesson from the example of Jesus's life, and realize that if they're looking for man to praise them, then they stopped realizing that God's approval is what matters more than anything.